So what does mobile first mean? What does mobile really mean?
Good morning, Mark.
Good to have you on the show.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. That's a quick question right out the door. Let's see. Okay, so mobile first is pretty simple. It's a mentality or a methodology of when we are going to design something that we want our consumer or our audience to see. We want to consider that they are going to be on a mobile device when they first experience our brand or our product or whatever we're trying to tell them. So we want to ensure that when we are designing and building, that everything is going to optimize well. We're going to make sure that it's going to work well on all devices. We're display well on all devices. And that we're not going to frustrate them. They're going to be able to understand how to either experience what we've given them or engage with us without having to be taught. They're going to know it. It's going to be almost like second nature. So really, it's a design methodology and a user experience methodology that we are going to produce this in a mobile environment. We're going to produce the experience in a mobile environment first. Then we are going to be web. So that's in the short.
You know, well, absolutely. And we live in a world where everyone's starting with this. I mean, you know, that's why I've been such an advocate for small businesses. They need to be on the local directories. They need to understand where their customers are checking them out, and they need to understand that I mean, I drive all over the state, and you'll see someone in the passenger car, hopefully the passenger, not the driver, looking at where they're going to stop next and not even seeing the billboards anymore because they're looking on their smartphone to decide where they'll go next, what decision they'll have. And so to me, it looks like this is part of understanding the customer's journey in being involved with you, buying your product, and then staying connected with them afterwards. Is that right?
That's absolutely correct. What we have going on is that we have this shift, right? We're the baby boomers. We're the bottom of the baby boomers, you and I, right? And we're getting older, and we're moving on, and we're passing our batons, our control batons, off to the millennials. The millennials have finally grown up. They're not so self-centered anymore. They still are a little bit.
I have my own time, so I can't throw.
Exactly.
My friend says I live in a glass house. I can't throw stones.
Exactly. We all did it, right? Millennials, boomers. It's like, hey, did we all work the same? But either way, the truth is that the folks, the people that have been raised with a smart device in their mouth as a teething tool, right? They're in position. They're getting in position now where they are the majority of the consumers. You know, they are the bigger buying power as we start to move forward. So we have to recognize as business owners who are probably on the average, you know, we're looking at 42 and up, right? We're the guys that own successful businesses, and we're the guys that have made it to where we are. We've got to realize that it's not where it used to be. We love to go think about where it was or what it used to be like, but where we are today is that the consumer is mobile. They're going to make a decision very quickly when they look for something. We need to ensure that what they see on their device is clean enough and helpful enough for them to make that decision, because that decision is being made within the first hour, or most likely within the day they actually did the search. So if we're not concise, precise, and aesthetically pleasing to these folks, they're just going to go off to another person that they can do business with quickly. So it's really, this is you know, if you've known me, I've been screaming this for 5 years, you know, but now it's here, and we're dealing with it, and we're still dealing with a lot of companies and a lot of small businesses that are challenged because they think it's expensive, they think it's not cost effective, and when it comes down to it, it can be very cost effective because you don't have to have it spin to the moon. You have to just think about what would I do? You know, how would I work with this? Because you are actually your mobile consumer, and you have to remember that when you're building or designing these tools.
Yeah, I want to talk about some of the components, because we have directories, which people have a great love-hate relationship with, but still it's sometimes a necessary evil. and that's where they're looking for the valuation and so forth. So we can talk about that. That's, to me, in the area of the micro business that I teach, that's the place I'm going to get them to start, because they've got to at least get on the maps, and they haven't even claimed them half the time.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? That's like, wow, guys, you've got to claim your business. What do you mean claim it? What do you mean by one of my biggest challenges is that when we start say, are you indexed? You know, we do a report to see what their digital channels, you know, the multi-channel experience is like. And the first thing we see is that they're not even indexed. I'm like, how are you? Do realize you're not even being found? I mean, let's start with the basics. And I think that's what a lot of businesses, at least small businesses, small to medium-sized businesses, have to take a step back and relax. Not listen to that. Not at first take in that the slick digital salesperson that comes in the door and shows you all the bells and whistles. Stop and find somebody that can help you look at the fundamentals. Start there. And Martin, you're one of those guys. It's really good. I'm so proud that you do that for companies, because I've been with you in a couple of those scenarios, and you really do a good job at it. So I'm not boasting you or selling you, but that's just the truth. The truth is that they need to talk to somebody that can walk them through the fundamentals so you can at least start the process. Don't jump into the bells and whistles.
So we'll start with the directories, and that's getting on the directories, and you know, it depends on your area. One of the things I say is look up in incognito the topic or whatever you're addressing, and find out what are the popular directories. Of course, Google Local. I'm a big advocate. I'm a moderator of the Triangle Google Local page. And then there's Yelp and the TripAdvisor, and it goes on and on, but we have to customize it and at least get those on. Manage them, understand them, really understand that every customer walks through the door, has a smartphone now, and can have 10,000 fans. That's one piece. Then the next one is the next first impression is their mobile experience. You know, their mobile experience. And of course, the test to review on this is if you look your website up and you have to spread your fingers to see it, you're probably being pretty severely penalized by Google now.
Oh, yeah.
And it is a mobile hostile environment for your customers. So that's, to me, the next litmus test, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. You hit it on the nose. It's funny you mentioned Google. They back in April 21st, they changed their algorithm, and this really has a lot more to do with the political battle between the FCC and Google. But the reality is that Google turned the page and turned a corner on April 21st, and now looks at mobile first. When they look for you, they look to see it's mobile ready. They look to see it's mobile friendly. They look to see if it's a mobile experience that matches a similar page on your website. So if you're saying, okay, these are this is either a check-in or a sale, we have to make sure that our mobile site or our mobile presence or mobile experience is matching a very similar language on our website, and you have to make sure these match. They have to, otherwise you get penalized by Google and the search engines. It has to be mobile friendly today. It's just the way the world is, and you have to conform, because when you're looking at what's at Google and 82% of the search engine market, they're in charge. You know, whether we like it or not, they are in charge, and we have to at least conform to their guidelines.
And we'll make sure we have the Google mobile test down below. That's at least a minimum test to verify your site's mobile friendly. But look for it, as well as we'll have links to your resources, Strike.
Cool.
So then we've got the just going through the process. We've got them looking things up on reviews, checking them out, finding out the information, and then from there they're coming potentially to your site from that location. Is it mobile friendly? They're moving off their mobile phone, and then there are several options in mobile friendly, and I want to talk about those options to know, because I've got people on budgets so tight that even an extra $10 a month can be a problem. So I've got to work from everyone up in understanding this. So the next level to me would be responsive or a customized mobile site, and the pros and cons of these. Of course, you do, to me, a real optimized mobile site the customer can adjust. So we'll talk about that as well. But let's start with just responsive, at least to have something on the map.
Oh, there's no doubt. most of the the average everyday website building tools today now offer either themes or a general layout of being optimized. And what optimized means, so everybody understands, it doesn't mean that you're going to have the best mobile experience, but what it is going to do is going to make sure that the buttons and the navigation system has been reorganized well enough that somebody could relatively easily go through it. It moves the buttons into the position. It moves the images properly in the page. So this way it can be viewable. You don't have to do that spreading. It get the fonts in the right, hopefully in the right size. Right, exactly, spreading that right. That's what optimization does. But that's it. Don't think it goes any step further. If your images aren't properly sized, they may not come out right. But it is at least you have to have an optimized site, because if you don't, I promise you, you're not going to come up first in the search. You're going to start coming second page, and maybe second page searches are actually pretty good on web, actually, because people have time. But when you're in the field, think about it. You're at the grocery store. Your kids are yelling and screaming. You're trying to make sure your pricing's checked, but you want to get that coupon off the phone so you can save your money, save some money. Are you going to go to second page? You're not. You're going to take the first, second, or third thing that is quickly, easily viewable and engageable, I guess, or executable. So
yeah.
Anyway,
excellent. So we've got responsive, which really is, for example, a responsive WordPress theme is at least adapting automatically to a tablet and a phone. Now, this isn't as optimized as something like what you have to offer. And then the other player there is, of course, someone who just codes an HTML5 site, which can get really quite costly.
Oh yeah,
it's native coded to work with that. So that's another player, at least, right?
Right. Well, you have a couple. I mean, here's what it comes down to. What I like to tell people is that, what do you want to have happen with the consumer or your audience at that moment in time? Don't worry so much about optimized sites, because we leverage optimization with our mobile site design. We leverage HTML5 tools. We leverage CSS tools. We leverage everything based on what we want to have happen. Everybody needs to step back for a second, almost forget about the technology. Go back to being a salesman and a human for 10 seconds. Forget the phone, okay? Forget the web. And say, you know what? When I first meet this person, what do I want to do? How do I want to get the conversation started? But once you determine that, then you should go through a bag of tricks. And there's a bunch of great tools out there to do some stuff, and I'll get them to you, Martin. Some of them are very cost effective. It's always helpful to have an expert like myself or you to help people, but if you can't do that, we get it. There's some great tool sets out there to get that question into a position where it can be executed on a mobile phone. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got then the next one is really where they can have their existing website, but then they'll alternate to a optimized responsive site, and that's getting more to what your product has to offer. Is that right?
Yeah, well, what we are is we are mobile. We are more than just mobile first. We're a mobile-centric technology design and marketing firm. That's what we do. We build websites. We do a lot of other stuff. We run a lot of campaigns. But when it comes down to it, we really love building mobile websites, and we've built a really great tool. We'll talk. I mean, I don't want to talk about it now, Martin, but yeah, you can send it out later. But what it comes down to is that you have to, if you really want, and you have the budget, and you really want to meet the requirements and get the best exposure you possibly could at any potential time a consumer may look for you or engage with you. You really want a website that has got a very clear, clean, crisp navigation system, and it's got more to do with your navigation than it does with your content at first, because if they can't get to your content, they're not going to they can't get there. So navigation's big. Then you have that site be optimized. So this way, if somebody gets to that site on their phone, it fits the phone. And then the other piece is really very experience-centric, where we want to drive a certain experience when they land on this page based on the device that they're using. And that's what we do. And that's a great space in there right now because there's just not a lot of companies that really understand it. They'll sell you optimization, they'll sell you a site builder, but nobody that really wants to help you understand that, hey, having 20 buttons in there isn't going to get you 20 clicks. Having 3 buttons in there that have clear, distinct outcomes, design that. We'll help you design that. So this way you get your outcome. So a mobile site is an augmentation of your digital channels. It helps put everything, it's just an extra channel that Google likes to see you have. I don't know how else to explain it. It's just another type of site that's been built specifically just for mobile. You never should see these on the web because they get really big. They don't tiny, but you know, think about it like, you know, when you were a kid, Martin, and you got that little Japanese tiny radio, right? And that was the coolest thing in the world. That's what a mobile site is. A mobile site is this really tiny version of you that's really fun and cool to engage with. And the more fun and cool you make it, and the more precise to an outcome that the end user wants and that you want to have happen, the more they really work for you. And when they do work, the cool thing is they help to start build this consumer to brand relationship, and they build a very strong bond because they're more likely to bookmark you, they're more likely to share you, they're more likely to come back to you. They really spend a lot of time with this, and these are mobile-centric consumers, and we've got about 1.7 billion of these people on the planet. They are nothing but mobile. And a good portion of them are here in the U.S. So,
yeah, I did a interview with someone about mobile in developing countries where they sometimes don't even have power, and they're using a mobile device at a charging station and an internet access point. So, very exciting stuff.
Side note on that, Martin, just so you know, and so the audience recognizes that I think there's almost 7 countries right now that have no form of currency. It's all mobile driven. It's really neat. Everything, wow. Yeah, and it's because they were underdeveloped countries and they don't have resources to make money, but they do have a mobile phone, right? So they created a credit model, not different than a Bitcoin or, you know, Facebook coins or whatever, you know, Facebook credits. They built this currency based on mobile, and they just literally they take a taxi, they tap it, and the taxi gets paid with credits and tip, and it goes into their bucket, et cetera, et cetera. So mobile in the next 5 to 10 years is really going to reshape how we engage with pretty much everything. It's already done that, but it's going to go even so much further in the next 7 to 10 years. It's just going to be bewildering to us 10 years later when we look back. We're going to say, oh my God, what were we doing?
I want to talk about how does this alternate site work? When the search comes to your website and it's a www.mywebsite.com, how does it know to switch over to something like your site? What kind of, get a little nerdy here and explain
sure,
a little
no problem. Okay, I'll do my best to be nerdy without being confusing. All right, so there's a concept of a redirect schema, and a schema in essence is just like a plan, a layout, a set of directions and rules that you are telling something to do. And what we do is we build a redirect schema that says, okay, when somebody types in your website, martinbrossman.com, right? Okay, and what we want to do is it comes in and you say, okay, this is a cell phone or a mobile phone. Here is the URL that this should go to. And there's a couple of ways to do it correctly. If you build too many redirects, which you can, if you go online and you look for JavaScript redirect, you'll find scripts all over the place. They're real simple stuff to plug and paste inside your web page to send something to a mobile site or a mobile landing page. But you've got to be careful, because what you really want to start using is you want to sort of go back to that mobile first modeling. Okay, so because let's assume that everybody's going through you in a mobile from a mobile device. So you start with your mobile is what we would recommend. You start with your mobile, and then you use a canonical URL, okay, inside your tool set. And you tell it, say, okay, listen, the canonical URL is going to tell me to probably go to my main site. Okay, this depends on how you set up your URLs, but for the most part, it's going to go to your regular site. What's great about that is that by not using the redirect there, is that you still have like 2 redirects to use for marketing purposes or user experience purposes without Google telling you too many redirects. So that's really important, and it's very important if you're going to be really using mobile to market a lot. You want to use your canonical URL for your main redirect, which sends it to the site. Okay, so you start with a mobile URL, use your canonical URL that sends it to the site. If you want to divert that, what you do is you use the canonical URL, and then it says, okay, on your regular site, you go, okay, fine, you know what? I really want them to go here when they come from here. So this is understanding how your consumer is going to walk through your digital channels. The more you understand how they walk through your digital channels, the better it will help you design how they are directed based on device, based on area that they go to. I know that sounds a lot. That was a lot of information. It may not all.
No, that was good. That at least gave an introduction to it.
Yeah. It's important that you get this correct, though. If you don't, and you do use too many redirects, Google's going to stop it from going. It's going to say too many redirects. And if you don't have a good URL redirection schema, your consumer is not going to have a friendly navigation system. So spend some time and understand how you want them to walk through it, and then build that redirect schema accordingly.
Excellent. Now I want to back up a little bit and talk about apps versus a mobile site, because you know, I developed the course for the community colleges on mobile for small business with, and you're the advisor of it. And one of the things you brought up that I started to see is the fact of how few apps we actually use on our phone, and how everyone seemed to be excited about spending money on apps. But it didn't take long for me to hear, I'd go back and go, how's it going? And the restaurant would go, well, no one seems to be using it. And the chamber would go, well, no one seems to be using it. And that matched my experience of, look, I've got my favorite apps. I'm not just downloading another thing on my phone to find out if it'll give me a virus or not, and just using it automatically. Unless there's such high value, I'm willing to make it in that kind of a 6 or 7 pack that I use. Could you talk a little bit about the contrast of that?
Yeah. We work for a great company here in the Triangle. Their name is RTSC Research Triangle Software. They are an app company. What they do is they build specific apps for specific needs. And that is a very different mindset than saying I'm building an app for my brand. Okay, because what you have on your phone, Martin, and what almost everybody has on their phone are apps they need, not apps to engage a brand with. So where is the breakdown here? Everybody saw this big influx. Everybody's making apps and everybody's getting rich. Well, that's not the whole truth. The truth is only about 2% of apps make more than $50,000 a year. And that's drastic, considering that what we have half a billion apps or something like that on the planet. It's crazy, right? There's an app for everything. What we tell people is that we will absolutely build an app for you if you can justify why somebody is going to download it and keep it on their phone. Because once you put that on your device, you are now you're literally under the sheets with them. You see all their personal information, and that actually has had a kickback on apps, because the consumer after years finally realized that, wait a minute, when I go to the bathroom, and this is no joke, there's actually bathroom statistics. Great for Charmin, but that's the truth, because they literally do know when you go to the bathroom. So what we tell our clients and how we work with our clients is that we say, hey, listen, when they're in your house, either in your store or they're looking for you and they need to engage with you because they want something at that moment, grabbing and connecting and getting behavioral analytics and statistics are perfectly fine. It's like the person that walks in your house. They're not going to let them run through your house right away by themselves. Okay, and that's the same concept. But at the same time, when they leave your house, is it really your business to know what they're doing? 90% no. So when it comes down to an app, and here's the simple thing, if it's productive and fills a void and a need that the consumer will want, build it and charge for it. If it's something that the consumer has to do every single day, like go shopping, see ads, build a smart mobile site. Okay, build something that's going to work with that, because they like that more. I mean, it's drastic. You know, for mobile shopping or for shopping or events or whatnot, the mobile web experience is massive to it. If it's designed well, it's like an 80% number that they appreciate it more than anything else. They don't want the app for that event. It doesn't make any sense to them. And if you properly built your mobile site, you can run these really cool, fun engagement campaigns that can bounce off any channel. Because if you've done it right, you can take these digital environments and put them in your web, put them on TV, put them in a commercial, put them on YouTube, and the list goes on. And you can position it nicely so you can run them through a fun contest, offers, et cetera, without having to have an app. Okay, because once that event's over or once that sale's over, it's done. An app will continue to live, and you're going to have to continue to maintain and take care of that app and make sure it works on all the different devices. So if it's not
right, so you got maintenance. You have maintenance on the app, which is important. You've got to update it, and then of course managing the responsibility of managing a different level of security. Because if someone hacks your app, they get into the customer's phone, you have a liability risk. So it better be a need that someone wants. Now, I want to give an example of one that was sort of clever at my mechanics place. They almost take pride in being non-tech savvy themselves, but they had a big banner on it, a big banner of a Carfax app that lets you record and maintain your repair log on it. And I went, now that's clever, because I do want to keep a record of what's going on with my car. I might actually download that and try it, because it serves my need on a regular basis instead of just. And then I would rather, if I'm looking up the Carfax on something, I'll probably go to their mobile site to find that out. So that might do it. And I don't mind them having a link to it if the value is so high here. But that's a deep pocket to be able to afford to support this. That's beyond the realm of many micro businesses.
Yeah, you hit it on the money. There are ways to do it, and there are ways not to do it. And you know what? With something like an investment, like a car. Okay, so this is an investment, right? So they recognize that, hey, this car cost them $30,000. For us to help them maintain and make sure that that car's stays in working order and makes their investment last longer, that's a smart leverage of using an app. Okay, the Carfax modeling, going to their mobile website and doing that, is also smart. So they're really, whoever's working with them has done this right. You know, they've got an app that meets a need, not just the fact that it's a brand. Who cares? If you want the best example, really, is look at Coca-Cola, a great company. They do fabulous things. We love them all the time, and they spend a lot of money on apps. And when you look at their app downloads, you'll see there are some that there's one or two that are like into the millions of downloads, but the rest of them, they're all around 40, 50,000 downloads. And that may sound like a lot to us, but when you're talking about a company that does 1.8 billion 8-ounce glasses of soda a day, 50,000 app downloads is not even a blip in time to them. So if anything, please take a step back and look at that example if you're thinking about doing an app. And that's what I would tell your audience. Don't just jump in doing an app because somebody says it's a good idea. Look at what you want to do, and look at your consumer. How often does your consumer engage with your product or service? If they're there every single day, yeah, maybe an app would be a good idea. Okay, but if they're there once every 6 weeks or once every 8 weeks, you want to see if you can get bookmarked on their home screen. If you can get your favicon bookmarked to be bookmarked on their home screen on their phone, that's the ultimate thing you want to do. because it looks and feels like an app, and it gives you a direct connect to your mobile site. And you're laughing. Somebody must be making fun of me.
No, I'm laughing because I'm thinking of something I'm going to talk about next. So,
okay. So that's what we attempt to do. We attempt to get everybody to bookmark our clients' mobile websites, so it feels and looks like an app, and when they want to engage with it, they do. And we have some pretty successful stories with this. It works well.
The other thing I remember is when you worked with me we built hired you to build a QR code system.
Yes.
And what I was remembering is because it's still used in the class, in the mobile class.
You're getting a new one, Martin. By the way,
I know. Well, we're excited about that. But the piece of it is I did a training with the directors of the Small Business Center, and I had told you I wanted to work with I wanted to speak with a certain next level of client, and you had reviewed the data off of it. You said, this isn't your client you're talking about. You know, they don't make enough money to justify where you're going. And of course, the small business centers are all fans. They're all these people who've literally taken often a drop in pay to get into this position. But it was so cool that just them scanning the QR code, you knew the persona of who they were. And when I said I want to do more speaking with this group, you go, they don't have the money to do it, Martin. You're down the wrong road. So that's what I was smiling about is how you're still getting rich data here. And you're still getting rich information from an app, but you're not kind of making them as exposed as having an app with a mobile site.
We all want, ultimately the more personalized an experience is, whether it be web, digital, whatever it is, we as human beings engage with it better. It feels like a glove or a shoe that we love to wear, right? And we're more likely to use that. So you do want to personalize it as best as you can. But when you're a small business owner, chunking some of this data, I mean, this is called big data. And just the term big data describes what it is, and yes, it is exactly that in your head. It's giant companies looking at data matrices and data sets and making massive crazy decisions based on the fact that I wore a pair of brown glasses today. It's Tuesday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was walking my dog on the corner of Pelham Road. They literally are looking, and that's big data, and that's really expensive. So what we tell people is, listen, you can be as effective and you can be as profitable and you can make as much and more money if we start to really just look at this as segments. Okay, if you want to get really personal, hell, I'll build you anything you want, but it's going to be may not be cost effective for you. So look at it as, these tools give us some natural analytics. You can use Google to plug into. You can use what we have, which is something that we've got. It doesn't make a difference. You plug an analytical tool in. Look at your analytics at least once every other 2 to 3 days. Don't wait for it to do it once a month. Look at your analytics every week. So this way you can get a bearing of what we should be doing next week to drive more people into my business or towards my product. It's very important. And it doesn't have to be, you don't need to know when they go to the bathroom.
Right, exactly.
So anyway.
Another one is QR codes. Where are they? I mean, you and I did a great coffee shop interview on it, lots of views. But, you know, to me, I mean, the way I explain it now is, it better be something that they really want in that moment to justify getting the scanner out and scanning it. And then if it is, then they'll do it. And the best example I had was, and I wish I recorded, is I was walking down the street one time in a small town, and there was a chocolatier there. And they had a sign on the door that said, scan this QR code to watch how we make chocolate. And, you know, I went, that got me. You know, I got my little barcode scanner out. I scanned it a little, and it went to their little YouTube video. And it showed me how they made chocolate. And at the end, I think it said, you know, mention this and you get 10% off when you get in or something. The regret is I lost the image of it. But to me, it's got to have that. It's so compelling. I'll get my phone. I'll load my scanner. I want that data. Is that what's your view on that now?
Well, it's interesting. We've got a couple different views on this. So we'll start out with the basic. My question to anybody, okay, because there's always somebody saying, especially the app people, they're always saying the QR code is dead. And I quickly remind them that whether you're an app company, a web company, whatever it is, when somebody is in the field, how the hell are they going to get to you if you don't give them a way to get to you? Because they're not going to type a URL. Has anybody here typed a URL in the last couple of years? And if you have, you know it's annoying, right? Little tiny letter, and you screwed up. You got to do it again, and you're frustrated. You're done. So you need to give them something now, whether that be a QR code, a text code, an NFC chip, iBeacon, which is some new buzzwords. Well, any of that stuff, it still needs to be there. Now, I can tell you this: according to ScanLife, U.S. scanning has increased drastically by like 50–60%. And almost every quarter, we're up to where when we were first talking about it, Martin, we were somewhere right around a 21% scan rate by who could and who knew. We're now up. We're hovering between 42 to 52, depending which statistic you look at, and depending what type of product or service, and also depending on what type of demographic. Like men will scan, women will not. So if you're selling a product, yes, we'll explain NFC in a minute. If you're scanning a, if your product is male centric, give them a QR code because they'll scan it. Guys like to scan. Women like to text. So it's not so much about a QR code. QR code rates have gone up because if you go to the grocery store, walk through any aisle, and I would probably, if I were to take a rough guess, somewhere around 70 to 80% of the product down that aisle probably has a QR code on it at this point. It may be hidden. It may not be well displayed, which is always the mistake. It's like, why put it on if you're not going to display it? And why give a bad engagement if you're going to have it? But people have just put QR codes on just about everything, which is good. That's caused the rate. Now, where it's bad is that if you don't have a good experience behind that QR code, you're actually hurting yourselves. Don't do it. URL to type, it's better. You're better off with that.
I think that's a great example. Like a little coffee shop might have the QR code to check in on Facebook, something they could do on their own that literally would not be a problem, and at least they can make it easy for them to get to it. Yeah, great example. There are two other topics I want to talk about before I wrap it up. One is this NFC and the near field stuff, because even apparently now Facebook has a beacon that they're sending out with some people.
Yeah.
Local bed and breakfast. I was down there, Big Mill, and they said, would you like a beacon? I said, let's try it and see how it works. And then the near field, and then I do want to talk a little bit about where's the trend towards texting, because you said getting text updates and how important it is that you manage that well. So let's start with the NFC and those near field things. Can you kind of explain who are the players and what's important?
That is a computer chip. And if I peel the back off, you'll see that there's an actual chip, okay? And these are printed. They come really tiny. We actually do a business card model where you carry a business card that looks and acts like a business card, except for you touch your phone to it, and it connects to your phone. So what near-field communication is, simple, NFC, is, and this everybody knows this, if you remember having the badge you had to use to get into the door at work and tap that little pad, that is NFC, okay? Near field communication. You have to be within 4 to 10 millimeters or something like that, something really close for it all to communicate and work. There are good things and bad things about this technology, and right now I caution anybody using it for 1,000 reasons, and we'll go into a couple of quick ones real fast. But just so you know where it works, any Android made back in 2012 and forward pretty much has near field communication tool sets in it and works well. And the iPhone NFC is, in my opinion, not a smart model, because what they did, they only left it up to payment models. And there's a whole trust factor that goes on. So a whole trust factor that goes on with payment and opening my door to a bank when I just touch a phone. And once again, this is a millennial thing. but it's dangerous. We're actually going to put out an article next week called "The Novelty of Things." NFC is, in most cases, not very secure. You can make it secure, but only so secure. And this is something that everybody's pushing, and you sort of take your phone, you tap it, and it opens the door to your bank. And this is not a this is not a toy. And when we see it on things like keychains, we get really upset because it's not a novelty. This is a serious technology that opens the door to your phone, opens the door to your personal life, and it could be left open if it's not securely done. So, I mean, before you go out for your next trade show and you go and get the NFC keychain, understand this. If you were in a crowded subway and somebody had the NFC keychain in their pocket and you have your phone in your pocket like men often do, and they wanted to scam you, believe me, I'm not coming up with this by chance. Okay, they can literally just rub their pocket up against you as you just would walk by, and they would open the door to your phone, and they would have open access. This is not a toy, and so is QR codes. And I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer with this, but the truth is these tools get used very much like they're novelty items. These are consumer engagement tools that are not quick. What they like to call them? They call it quick response. We call them quick results. We can get people to buy things through this. We can get them to like you, gain audience share, run contests, do crazy, cool, fun things. But if we treat them like toys and novelty items, the consumer will get tired of it, and we will have nothing left to actually engage them with. We already see trends that if somebody is running down the aisle and they have a bad experience after scanning a QR code, that they don't scan any more QR codes down the aisle. So when somebody puts out a bad mobile experience, it affects everybody in the industry. So we really need to take a step back. And once again, I want to be Debbie Downer about this, but this is the truth, because we are moving in this direction. The consumer wants it. They love it. They told us they love it. So let's start taking it more seriously. If you don't have the funds to invest in it, figure out a way. Talk to a professional and say, hey, listen, I really need to do this, but I need some help. There's not a single person in my industry, anybody in my position, with a company like mine that would not help. I have not met one yet, because we're all small business owners ourselves.
The thing I want you just to define is what is near NFC, and just redefine, what is it doing with our phone?
Gotcha.
And what do we turn on and off? But no, that was excellent what you said, but you can find it in your settings.
I'll show you.
Great.
So this is a near field communication business card.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so this opens up the door to her V card, her digital business card. So you'll see on here, and I've taken my phone, and you might have heard that beep.
Yep.
And 1, 2, 3. Hopefully it all works, bro.
Put it a little closer to the, once it comes up, a little closer to the camera.
Sorry, having a little speed issues.
There we go. Got it. There we go.
Okay, so that's what near field does. It's a little electronic chip that has it's a little tiny frequency, near field communication. It's exactly what it is. And as you put it close to each other, they communicate, and it opens a door based on what I've told this thing to do. Now, this thing can do things like applications. Go ahead, Martin. I'm sorry.
And I'm gonna see if we can see it there. That's the setting in my phone where you can turn it off and on.
Yep.
So, just know where that is in your phone and know if you want it on or off, right?
Yep, agreed. What I tell people with QR codes, NFC, and anything like that, branded. If you find things that are branded, they're probably 99.99% safe. When you see things that are unbranded, like a QR code that's just a QR code with no branding in it or no colorization in it, and it might be in an odd place, don't scan that. Okay, scan things that have
like a sticker on a wall. That's yeah. I remember a shop. There was a Christmas place at Crabtree, and all they had it was Christmas. All they had is a QR code, and that was it. They didn't explain what it was. It was just stuck on and it was stuck on the outside, like someone else could have put it there.
That could end that.
I should have just written at the bottom, possibly a virus.
Right. This could be anything. This could be pornographic material you don't want to see, whatever it is. Yeah. But here's the reality. branded material, things like it's in a store, it's on a bottle. It's, you know, make sure that if you're going to scan or tap something, it's relating back to something that you have a comfort with already. Okay,
excellent.
You're probably going to be safe.
Last topic is texting, because that still has its place where, you know, sign up for our texting, and you were the one that really said, make sure it's welcome, make sure they want it, because there's some real liability with skin.
There are. As a matter of fact,
talk a little bit about the trend towards getting text updates from a business.
There's, to give everybody a scale, there's like 7 trillion or some crazy number, it's into the trillions of texting every year. Only about 50% of that is B2C texting. Okay, B2C texting is incredibly effective as long as you leverage it properly. So there's a couple of steps you need to take. One is stop. If you're texting using your phone and you're sending a commercial-based or a consumer-based text from your database inside your phone, please stop, because if you upset somebody, the FCC is going to come knocking on your door because that is illegal.
And some big fines are attached to it.
Well, not only are the fines, they can be big, but they can. What's worse is if you're a second offender, you'll never get a text code. You'll never get a short code. You'll never be able to text again, in essence, at least legally. I'm sure people do it, but it's one of these things. It's not a novelty. It's not a toy. There are serious regulations behind it, because when somebody texts you or when you text them, it's costing them money. It comes out of a now I know people saying, oh, wait a minute, everybody's got, you know, unlimited texting. No, not everybody has unlimited texting. Not everybody has a smart device. I know it's hard to believe, but they don't. So the truth is that here's what you need to do. Number one is you need to, you have to have them opt in, and the language is pretty specific. You just need to say to them, hey, this could cost you, you know, message and data rates based on your plan, right? And text stop to stop and help to help. Reply with why if you want to go further, or something like that. And we have some text language if people want it. And then when they press Y, they double opted in at that point. So we have 2 opt-ins, right? First, they executed texting in, and now they've said, yes, send me text. Okay. Mm-hmm. At that point, you deliver a short URL that allows them to get to where they go. And it sounds like a lot of work, but I can tell you that we implemented this. We implemented that process with one of our brands about 4 months ago, and we've seen their text database, because we have them text in to sign in to check in. We've seen their text database increase by 35%. So we may think it's not going to work to do that, but texters are funny. They are texters. And you're out there and you're nodding your head right now saying, yeah, I'm a texter. That's what I do. And you understand what I'm saying. You have to follow those rules. If you don't follow those rules and you continue to send text out from a promotional standpoint, you are potentially putting yourself at risk for a privacy lawsuit from the government, from the person, and also a big hammer from the FCC. You are potentially evoking some of the worst things that could happen to you from a marketing standpoint. So please get legal. If you need help with legal stuff, we'll give you a bunch of links to connect with me later on, or connect through Martin. Have Martin send me the question. I'll get it to you. But please, it's important that we not treat NFC, QR codes, and textings as toys. They are our tool set to help clients engage or consumers engage with us in the field. Take it seriously. They're not toys. Let's do it right, because the more we do it right, the more everybody does it. And the more everybody does it, the more money we make. It's as simple as that. It's a very simple equation, folks.
Well, I think we've covered the gambit of the mobile. This was very productive, and several things we'll put in the links below. One, I want us to review the page that you're an advisor on for resources for mobile. So we'll look over that, but we'll put the link in right away and then come back and check it, because it's time for us to review it and update it. That I use in the course, and I make a lot of the resource links available. And then also ask And also ask if you have any questions, post them below. That'd be great. We can get back to you and respond to it. I'm going to put the resource links for your wonderful mobile resources that you have. I'm excited about using it because it has the ability for me to go back on my own and update. That's the exciting thing. I mean, it looks like an easier than WordPress update system.
Yeah,
at least.
We've okay, so Mars, okay if I tell everybody about the company?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay, so guys out there, we've after years of working with a third-party site builder, we went off and we built our own, and we're really excited about it, and we're getting ready to launch. And if you click on some of the articles there, you'll see us sign up on the right-hand side, because we're going to have an open house party next Monday. It's going to be a digital open house party. The only difference is you don't get refreshments, but what you do get is door prizes.
You can have your own refreshments.
Yeah, bring your own refreshments, BYOB. And we're going to make it a party. We're going to do page walkthroughs. We're going to give you some really hands-on advice. And we're going to be live for a couple hours. And it's probably going to be a hangout area, so you can come out here, sit with us, and see us actually build and use our mobile site builder that you can get on your own. And the cool thing about it is that you have access to guys like me. So as you're building and working with things, if something doesn't feel right or you're curious if something's going to work and we're online, we will review your site online as the expert and say, you know what, you want to do this. Or we really want to help you. We really want this to work well. We also have an Indiegogo going on right now, because what we're going to do is for every $500 that we earn for our Indiegogo or for our company period, we are going to give an entire school district one of our site builders. The Durham School District is the first that will be getting one. They're really excited. We'll probably be launching at the School of Creative Studies. That's in North Durham. And we also have a teacher that's willing to walk through and build a curriculum with it, which is really cool. So the company's, the product's name is Mobilution. That's MOBILUTION.io. Go take a look at us, and our Indiegogo is up there under mobilution.io as well. So, Martin, thanks very much, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, excellent. And I'm teaching a course on crowdfunding tomorrow. So
cool. I should go listen so I can actually make some money.
I will use it as an example in the class. So
cool.
That'll be great.
I haven't made any money yet. No.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Well, we'll get it going then. Okay. Great to have you on the show. We'll look for the links below, resources, and we'll come up, and also let us know what the next topic you'd like us to interview or talk about.
I'm actually going to be putting out an article this week called the novelty of things, which is going to talk a little bit about what we talked about today, but in more depth. And I think people really need to understand what NFC, the e-com players of the world, such as banks, they really want you to be tapping in. There's 1,000 reasons why it's valuable to them, but I want everybody to understand that just because it's a bank doesn't mean it's secure. And please, this is how I look at it. I love NFC, and I don't use Starbucks. It's not that I don't trust Starbucks. It's that I don't trust the guy at Starbucks who's looking to copy my phone as that door is opened. That's what we got to remember. It's not the brand. It's the guy standing next door waiting and checking the networks to see that when that door gets opened, I'm going to run in. That's where NFC fails today. There's no security measures in place for it. And believe me, it's a big talking point, and I want to expose.
We might do a show just on that too.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That'd be good. So put some stuff together, and we'll do it. But want to wrap it up?
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for the time.
Thanks for everything. We'll see you soon.
Bye, everybody.